Wow, did you see Meghan?
Why, yes, I did. And so did every other person on the planet, seeing as though she has made all the headlines for the past few days for simply stepping out of her house looking fabulous. Today, for our Vogue Darling / Sussex style video, we will be dissecting Harry and Meghan's look from over the weekend. So let's get started. Hey y'all, thanks for clicking on my video, and if you're returning, welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Harry and Meghan's looks from over the weekend as they attended the 2025 Baby to Baby Gala, as well as Kris Jenner's 70th birthday. Now, I'm not the only one who is absolutely in love with both of their looks. Y'all know I love when Harry does a good James Bond tux, but Meghan did not disappoint. She absolutely shut it down with this all-black ensemble. She and Harry both looked fabulous. Vogue, Harper's Bazaar, Vanity Fair, Women's Wear Daily, Us Weekly, InStyle, Marie Claire, People, everybody had something to say, and all of it was positive. As a matter of fact, all of it was raving mad in love with Harry and Meghan's looks. Now, before we get into that, if you haven't already, please don't forget to go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. Now, let's get into some of these recaps and reviews of Harry and Meghan's look. Now, of course, the grand poobah of all things fashion is Vogue, and they were amongst the first and the loudest to praise Harry and Meghan's looks, donning praise upon them and sharing them over all their social media. They remarked, Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, showed up in style, playing into the formal black tie feel of the night. Meghan rolled up to the festivities wearing a demure but very chic black ensemble. She paired a fitted long-sleeve top with a floor-length skirt complete with a high slit. Her accessories truly made the look, including a pair of crystal drop earrings, bow tie stilettos, and a velvet bag, which perfectly matched Prince Harry's velvet tux. And on his lapel, he donned a red poppy in honor of Remembrance Day weekend in the UK. And trailing close behind Vogue with their review was Harper's Bazaar, who said, the prince led the way in a velvet black blazer worn open to reveal a white button-down fashioned with a satin bow tie. On his lapel, he brought a little piece of home along with him in the form of a red poppy, a symbol of remembrance worn all over the UK for Remembrance Sunday. Beside him, Meghan was striking in a coordinating color palette, wearing a long-sleeve black number with a turtleneck bodice and a figure-hugging silhouette. Designed with a thigh-high slit to show off some leg, her skirt trailed behind her in a dramatic sweep as she walked inside. Her hair, slicked back into a low bun, was kept off of her face to reveal sparkly statement earrings, and she paired the look with a velvet clutch. For shoes, she went with a sandal peep-toe heel embellished with a bow, the perfect match to her own bow's bow tie. This brings us to Us Weekly, who wrote, Prince Harry looked dapper in a black tuxedo at the event, while Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, wore a stylish black floor-length turtleneck gown with a thigh-high split. She paired her look with dangling earrings and her hair up in a bun. I would actually categorize that as down in a bun, but tomato, tomato. Women's Wear Daily chimed in, with Meghan went for a sleek, quiet luxury styling. The Duchess of Sussex opted for a subdued elegance in a long-sleeve black turtleneck and a coordinating high-waisted skirt. The turtleneck, a staple, versatile piece of an autumn wardrobe, featured a fitted silhouette that accentuated Meghan's frame. Her skirt added further dimension, featuring gathered fabric and a thigh-high slit. People are losing it over that slit, and honestly, same. I loved it. As for her accessories, Meghan favored pieces by Aquazora, including a pair of strappy black sandal heels along with a pair of gold chain statement earrings. For glam, Meghan favored the slicked back hairstyle, another nod to 2025 fall trends. Could be a nod to 2025 fall trends. However, we have photos of Meghan for years opting for a slick back low bun when she wore a turtleneck. She's done this look or combo a number of times. Meghan's baby-to-baby gala look is a true return to form for the Duchess of Sussex's approach to style and fashion post-royal life. Over the last several years, the As Ever founder has gravitated towards quiet luxury designers and contemporary pieces from the likes of Ralph Lauren, Guliva Heritage, Heidi Merrick, Balenciaga, and many more. The next up is In Style, and while I completely agree with their compliments of Harry and Meghan's looks, they did make a number of notes in their statement that I do think needs correction, and I will do that in my final thoughts wrap-up on the other side. But in the meantime, here are their statements. Meghan channeled her inner Bond girl with understated elegance, turning heads in a bodycon black dress with long sleeves and a form-fitting silhouette. The Suits alum's skirt had a sultry detail with a bold thigh-high slit showing off a pair of black ankle-wrap sandal heels underneath. The lifestyle maven pulled her dark brown hair back into a sleek ballerina bun, showing off a pair of statement crystal earrings that sparkled all the way down to her shoulders. She highlighted her glowing complexion with a rose gold metallic smoky eyeshadow, sculpted cheekbones, and a nude lip. Meghan held a black velvet clutch in one hand, holding Prince Harry's hand with the other as they headed into the party. Meanwhile, the Duke of Sussex looked dapper in a black fitted tuxedo and black patent leather dress shoes with a poppy. Next up was Marie Claire, and they had this to say. For the star-studded event, the Duchess of Sussex wore a sleek black long-sleeve turtleneck gown featuring a thigh-high leg split. She accessorized her dress with a pair of $1,105 Aquazzura black tie sandals and the brand's bow tie detail clutch bag, both in an espresso shade. For jewelry, Meghan wore her beloved Cartier Love bracelet in yellow gold and Aquazzura's $625 Love Link earrings. Prince Harry kept his outfit simple, channeling James Bond in a flawless tuxedo. The Duke of Sussex also wore a red poppy in honor of Remembrance Sunday, paying tribute to troops who served in World War II. And lastly, People magazine gave their stamp of approval with the following, quote, "They arrived hand in hand and looked very happy," a source told People. Meghan was glowing. She looked very glamorous and fit the theme perfectly. Prince Harry looked sharp in a tuxedo. I would say that sums them up pretty well. What do y'all think? Thank you so much for watching the SharionSade YouTube channel. I appreciate you watching my content. If you haven't already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video by hitting the thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe by hitting the subscribe button. And don't forget to comment along the way. If you feel so inclined, please don't forget to share so that more people can find us. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Now let's get back to the video. So I wanted to give my thoughts on Meghan's outfit, but before I do, I want to comment on some of the corrections, or at least I feel like there was some needed context. So at this point, at the time of recording this video, Meghan's dress or top and skirt have yet to be fully identified, but I am on standby with all of the fashion sites, and I will absolutely give an update once I know in the description box. But right now, it's being said that this is custom Balenciaga, but that has not been confirmed, and I'm honestly not even sure where that came from, but all of the fashion sites are saying that they think it's Balenciaga, so I'm reluctant to believe it. It would make sense, but since I don't know, I can't say for sure. Now, something I wanted to address was In Style. They made two comments that kind of raised my eyebrows. First, they said Meghan's dress was a bodycon dress. It's not even confirmed that this is actually a dress. This appears to be a top or a bodysuit with a skirt that has yet to be confirmed one way or the other. But either way, I don't think this is bodycon because the fabric doesn't look like a stretchy fabric. It just looks form-fitting. So this doesn't look like bodycon or a bandage dress or look. This just looks like a form-fitting dress. As a matter of fact, we haven't seen Meghan in a lot of bodycon. We have seen her wear a few bandage dresses years ago. The one that I absolutely adore is that light blue bandage dress that she and Harry took portraits in, and the portraits were in the Queen's, I think, office or on her desk somewhere. And I love that dress. But Meghan rarely wears a bandage or a bodycon dress, but she is known to wear a form-fitting number. And so I think it's important, until we have details on the outfit, to be careful with categorizing it so far. And then also, they credited Prince Harry's, prepare yourself, y'all, please. This is almost why I don't like American publications commenting on British customs, because very rarely do journalists or reporters do their real due diligence anyway, but especially when it exceeds something beyond the US, they're just so lazy about it. But In Style credited Prince Harry's poppy with channeling Kate Middleton and Prince George because they too wore poppies. When I tell y'all, I got an immediate headache in the front of my face. That's just a Googleable thing. And honestly, Prince Harry has been wearing a poppy in honor of Remembrance for years, long before his brother married that lady. I can't even believe someone would think Harry must be channeling his brother's wife, the one that was rude and nasty to his own wife. He's channeling her and say, maybe we should fact check, but they didn't. But just so we're clear, Wearing a poppy in honor of Remembrance Day started in 1921. Unless Kate Middleton was around at that time and said, I'm the first, it's me, all me, only me, I'm gonna bet it had zero to do with her and everything to do with remembrance. You know, the very same customs Prince Harry has been referencing for over a week. Mind you, this is a tradition he's been celebrating for many, 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 many years, several decades now. I just found that to be kind of egregious and it really, really bugged me. I sent them an email to please make the correction because I do feel like it's rage bait, but I also think it's just negligent and ignorant if we're going to be real. Now, as far as the details of this outfit, some of the things I loved most about both Harry and Meghan's outfit is that both of them look great separate, but boy, is it a grand slam when they're standing right next to each other. And this is the power of coordinating a good couple's look without being super matchy-matchy. And each of them kind of had little references to each other, or at least to the overall look that they were both going for. And they nailed it. It just landed so well. So as we know, Prince Harry's suit is velvet, very appropriate for a Bond theme. Both of them looked so appropriate for a Bond theme. I thought, what a fun theme of a party or an event. And boy, did they just hit it out of the park. So Prince Harry's suit is velvet, and Meghan's handbag is velvet. I love that little connection. Prince Harry wore a bow tie, and Meghan's shoes and her handbag had bow ties. And of course, we know they were color coordinated. They looked so in step. They looked fabulous. I love everything about the makeup and hair choice that Meghan wore. And also, being that people are assuming that this look is Balenciaga, I can see why they made that connection, because at Paris Fashion Week, Meghan went with a more of a bare face, like a glass skin bare face. But this one, she had a little bit more makeup on, or at least more visible makeup, but it is still a very neutral face, and her hair is pulled back in the same way that it was in Paris Fashion Week, and she's wearing a monochromatic look. So I can kind of see why people reference Paris Fashion Week, and hey, maybe it is. Maybe it is a reference to herself. That would make a lot of sense, and it would be great to pull in that reference. But until we know exactly who made this outfit or the pieces within the outfit, we really won't know. But overall, I thought they looked wonderful apart and wonderful together. I love how in step they were. I love that their outfits kind of mirrored one another in different ways. And I love when couples know how to nail a couple's look without going for the matchy everything is the exact same. I think there's something so unique about, and so I appreciate so much about when couples can do a reference to each other or the overall look that they're both trying to achieve without being identical. I think it's fun when you have a little bit of fun with your look, but also you're in step with your partner. Now, overall, I thought everyone looked amazing. I love those earrings on Meghan. Now, the first thing that I noticed, because her hair was pulled back, were those earrings. I actually am loving recently that she has been taking a few more bold choices or a few more bold chances with her jewelry. So we had at the Project Healthy Minds Gala, she had the big chunky necklace, and here we have the long dangly earrings. And while she is known for really great jewelry, she is having a little bit more fun, or at least stepping outside of the box a little bit with her jewelry and giving us these statement pieces that are a little bit more, I won't even say embellished, but a little bit more dramatic than we're used to. I just love that she is having fun with her fashion, and it's appropriate. Something that I will say, this has nothing to do with Meghan, but it brings to mind when people are trying to shake up their wardrobe or shake up their look, sometimes they can go a little heavy-handed on the statement pieces, and they do things that are directly in contrast to their typical look. And there's no problem in that, but sometimes when it isn't in alignment, it looks like try hard. And so when people are trying to switch it up a little bit, sometimes they go a little too far. Something that I love about, and I've mentioned this before, but something that I love about Meghan's looks is that no matter if she is having fun, or if she's going super demure, or if she's going elegant and classic, or if she's going fun and modern or contemporary, or what have you, the common denominator is always, it's gotta make sense for Meghan. And that is in and of itself what connects all of her looks, even her looks from a long time ago, pre-royal life to her royal life to now. There is this common thread of Meghan just being Meghan in different eras, and they all look like Meghan. I've seen a number of those articles or those slideshows where they're like Meghan's fashion transition or evolution over the years. And while yes, she has evolved over the years and trends have kind of filtered in and out of her looks, They've always looked like Meghan. And one thing I will say, because she has leaned into more of a classic look, her looks are rarely, very rarely outdated. I have seen looks that she wore in like 2013, 2014 and talked about them in contrast to 2019 to now. And you probably can't tell where they're from or when she wore them unless you look at her hair and makeup, because her hair and makeup has changed a lot. But her fashion choices have only evolved, but they've all had the same kind of thread or same kind of look. She's always kind of leaned into that classic look. It works for her. It makes sense for her. And I love that she, no matter how much fun she's having, she still kind of comes back to, it's still Meghan. I'm not transforming into anyone else. I'm having fun with all facets of Meghan. And I think all of us should kind of lean into that as well. Have fun with your look. We all have our signature, or most people have your signature look. If you see me off duty, I'm probably going to have a high bun, slicked upward, a t-shirt and slacks, a t-shirt and pants, yoga pants or what have you, and some kind of flat shoe, whether that's a sneaker or a slide or what have you. That's kind of my off-duty look. But when it comes to formal looks, I love a good solid look, black, white, yellow, purple. I like a good solid. I'm not a big print person, but either middle part, side part, straight down, or a little bump at the end. God bless me, I'm Southern. We're going to have that. The ends are going to be bumped on a formal occasion. But I kind of have these typical looks like most people do. And then there are times where I want to step out of that, but it's still going to be me. So I love seeing people who are trying new things. Their fashion or style is evolving, but they're still always true to themselves. I think when you get into the habit of trying to emulate others or trying to draw an inspiration from someone who's maybe too different or has a different vision for themselves and you're trying to emulate that, you can get into some murky territory, which is why I highly recommend not copying people. It's okay to be inspired. I think it's great actually to be inspired. But when you copy, and I'm not talking to anyone in particular, although it could apply to someone very specific, but when you copy, you rarely bring in the same energy or the same message or the same expression that that person was embodying when they wore it first, which is why it makes sense for them. And it makes sense that it was catered to them and their body type and their expression and their style, but it looks crazy and drab and ill-fitted on the other person. It's because copying, you can get the material and you can have the recipe, but the spirit is gone. It's important to know yourself. I think if you were looking for somewhere to begin your style journey, or if you're saying, I want a signature look, or I really want to put more effort into my style, I think the first place you start is asking yourself, who am I and what do I want to say and what do I want to express? Once you start there and you turn inward and you kind of get in tune with you, trends come and go and that's fine. But what's the most sustainable is the foundation that those trends land on. And that's you. How do you want to present yourself? Now, over the years, I have actually been called boring. I mean, I'm not going to be mad about it. People are allowed to have their opinion. But a number of my friends have been like, oh, you're always wearing solids, or your style is a little bit boring. You should try to have fun. And I've actually never really been one to lean into trends. At one point, amongst some of my friend group, there was this trend of wearing wild and crazy lipsticks. It was kind of like the peak Rashida Prest era from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, or the Lady Gaga or the Nicki Minaj, or like all the wild color hair, wild color lipstick, wild color makeup. And it was just 2016 makeup at its peak. If you know, you know. And the wild prints and the wild stuff and the giant weird heels. And listen, that was a fun time. I loved how fun people were with their styles. I could also love it and not emulate it because it just didn't make sense for me. I stuck with what I knew. And so sometimes we would go out and some of my friends would be like, why do you only want to wear white? Or why do you only want to wear black or blah, 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 or just one color? Like I would have a statement color. So if I was wearing all black, I might do a red heel, something like that. And they were like, you need to have more fun. Why don't you try this blue lipstick? And no offense to anyone, I knew right off the bat, blue would not look good on me on my lips. I like my lips to be a natural hue, even if it's dramatic. I'll go red, I'll go deep red, I'll go pink, I'll go nude, I'll go brown. I'm not going the blue. That's just not me. And we look back at those photos and the people who said I was boring look a hot mess to me, but it doesn't matter what I think. What matters is what they think. And so I share that to say, when we're reviewing Meghan's style and her fashion, or anyone's, not just Meghan, when we're talking about fashion and style, the one thing that I always like to remind people is the reason Meghan's style looks so good, like someone else could wear the same hairstyle, the same makeup, the same dress, and why it might not land as well. For example, people said Meghan was glowing. That's because her makeup makes sense for her. Her shades, her tone, the way she's wearing it, it makes sense for her and her face and her bone structure. It's because it's curated for and to her. But someone else may do that exact same thing and it not land the same. And the reason for that is because the essence of them is missing. You have to be a little bit introspective to find out what works for you. And I actually encourage everybody to kind of start building if you don't already, have a signature look. It saves so much time and so much freaking money. I'm going to be honest with you. When I was in the corporate world, I used to kind of cycle in different looks, trying to figure out who was my corporate self and what was my corporate identity. So I went through the pantsuit phase, and I went through the dress phase, and I went through the slacks and shirt, and I went through the wear the same thing every day but change the blazer. I went through all those phases, and I realized, one, it's good to have fun and switch it up, but my identity, I felt better when I was in a more structured look. I felt more confident in a structured look. I felt more ready for the day. I spoke better. I had better posture, etc. when my clothes were structured. So I started wearing more blazers, more dresses that had a little structure to them. I stopped wearing wrap dresses or anything that was a little bit too frilly. And I started wearing things that were structured, like skirt suits, dress suits, and full-on suits. And that actually helped me to kind of identify myself in the workplace and made me feel a lot more confident. Whereas one of my colleagues, she dressed down every single day. And I'm saying that as a compliment. Mama was a fashionista. Oh my God, I was always so in awe. I would go to her office every day and say, let me see them. And she would show me her shoes because she was known for a good statement shoe. And she was good about finding these good finds. Like she wasn't spending $400 and $500 on shoes. She was spending like maybe $100, maybe $120. And she was just having fun thrifting and shopping. And she would put together the nicest outfits. And she was known for her looks. It didn't impact her work performance. If not, it just helped. But that was how she felt best. When I kind of got a little too wild and wacky with the colors and prints, I didn't feel as confident. And of course, that impacted the way I presented myself. So I always recommend having an identity and really creating your style and your look and your image based on your identity. What brings out the best in you? That's something we have seen Meghan master. She is masterful at her identity. You see her flow in and out of these events. You have the event last night or the other night, Kris Jenner's 70th birthday and the Baby to Baby Gala. And then you have Project Healthy Minds Gala. Then you have her at the Most Powerful Women's Summit. Then you had her at Paris Fashion Week. Now, those are vastly different events. Vastly different. They could not be less similar. However, she looked not only appropriate, but she looked in step and she looked in sync in all of them. If you pull her looks from any of those events, they all looked cohesive despite not having anything to do with each other. And that's because she brought her identity to the forum, not the other way around. The forum didn't dictate what her style would be. She adapted her style to the event. So anyway, that's just a little bit of encouragement. And this is actually the fun part if you're starting your style journey. I told you guys since I started losing weight, I've started my style journey over. I have been purging my closet of things that, one, I can't fit anymore, but also just prints and colors that are a little outdated. That I am a hoarder and I don't like throwing things away. I like to get all the wares I can out of them, but I'm donating them before the Christmas season so that if anybody wants to make use of them, they can. But anyway, I'm purging my closet and I'm starting my style over from scratch, and I'm slowly building up my identity when it comes to my looks and my fashion. So I will keep y'all up to date and you can stay tuned. I told you guys on the member side, I'm going to start tracking like my closet overhaul with my jewelry, makeup, clothes, shoes, etc. I'm redoing and revamping everything. This is the fun part, but it is tedious and I am documenting it. Anyway, this was such a fun look to dissect. I love a good monochromatic couples look. They looked fabulous. Well, Harry wasn't monochromatic, but Meghan was. They looked fabulous in step, separate. They looked fabulous together. They looked incredible. I loved everything about these looks and I hope we get plenty more. And also, if you're going to report on anything, as far as a tradition, whether that's American or from Britain or from anywhere, I think we can all agree that doing our due diligence is imperative. And I have made mistakes before, especially as a Meridian, goodness, especially as an American talking about British royalty. I have had to correct myself a number of times. I would be a fool to think that I wouldn't at some point. This is such an opportunity for me to learn things that I've never really encountered, which is the British royal family. But I think it's important to be open and willing to learn and correct yourself. And crediting Kate Middleton with why the poppy is worn it would be hysterical if it didn't irritate the crap out of me. In style, you've been warned. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. If you haven't already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and feel free to share if you feel so inclined. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.